The topic is about is our life ruled by karma or is our life ruled by destiny? So I will be sharing some point for around 20 to 30 minutes, and the remaining 30 minutes you can ask your questions or even your obstacle or what you are facing and what solution we can give you. So just wanted to ask in this topic now, some of you, have you ever wondered why sometimes some things happen to you? Sometimes it may seem like there is no logic to it. For example, how someone behave with us, or some situations happen. So sometimes we may also ask God also, why me? So in today's sessions, we will see also what is the cause of such happening in our lives. And sometimes why also we do the things we do. We will share also with you some image of the law of karma and how it works through our subconscious mind. We will also do one exercise together that can help us to overcome the influence of the destiny or karma we have. And after that, what we will do, you can share all your questions, your obstacles, because in today's time everyone is facing different situations. Actually, in the popular Western belief, the view is more that we are in control in our lives. We are in the control, and everything that happens is actually the result of our own choice. And in other hand, the more popular Eastern view is that everything happens, maybe sometimes some things we cannot control, or there is some reason why things happen, or sometimes things happen maybe due to destiny. So when it comes to destiny, we refer to something we have no control over some life situations. And willful action is some portion of life where we have control over. But in regards to spiritual science, in today's time, 65% of our life is ruled by destiny or karma. Just to clarify, the word destiny or karma is the same thing, because some use different words, but just to clarify for some of you. And 35% is ruled by our willful actions. I just wanted to ask also, how many of you may have had that thought once, or like, why this is happening to me? Where sometimes we see good people or ourselves also going through some situations and we feel it is undeserved, it is abnormal. And this is what we call also the why me syndrome. And quite often we may hear some people say it is God's way, it is a mystery. But in reality there is no mystery at all. Everything happens for a reason, and it is actually governed what we call by the law of karma, or the law of destiny. So just about the destiny and the give and take accounts, it also reflects the way we live, and sometimes how heavily the choice we have make, it is influence the choice we make. So just to understand, and some of you may be sometimes questioning how the mechanism of actions of destiny or this give and take account happen. So just we wanted to show you now an image, and we will use an example to explain a little bit how it can influence our choice. As you can see here, we have a dog, somebody who is looking at the dog, and we have this diagram of what we call the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. So in this picture, we see, let's say, the dog who is waving a tail towards us. It's like friendly. And it is processed. Our eyes is processed by our eyes. And the brain goes to our mind. And the mind is made of two parts, as I shared before. The small part is just 10%, that is the conscious mind. And then you have the subconscious mind. So the conscious mind is what we are aware of. This is the thoughts or emotion we are aware. And the major part is 90%, is the subconscious mind. This is the thoughts we are not aware. It is in a way the house or the place where there are millions of impressions. And from this million of impressions that we had with interactions from this birth or other birth also. And we have different centers, as you can see, such as intellect centers, desires. So here we can say tell us that the dog is friendly, and there is no problem by looking at the dog. So this is by we can say our intellect or like and dislike. But if in, let's say, previous birth we have been bitten by a dog, so the center of give and take account at that time will warn us or will overpower at that time the other impressions. And it will be like a powerful influence that it will actually override our reasoning and will make us run away from the dog. I don't know if some of you may have experienced some different type of situation, not like that, but maybe sometimes some situations that you behave in a certain way, and after you may have wondered why I acted that way or why did I do like that. But just to understand this about how the karma can influence our behaviors, our actions, and our thoughts. So we can, in a way, go back now to continue the topic. And something also I would like to share with you, something that you may be interesting to know, is how much karma do we have with others. So you may have wondered sometimes with which person we may have more karma. So I would like to show you also, as per research, some tables. Of course, what I show you now, it is in average, so for everybody may be different. Or let's say for some person who are not married, they may have a give and take account more with parents or somebody else. But in average, you can see here, when it comes to spouse, it is in a way the major amount. And it in a way makes sense also, because this is with the person with whom we spend the most of time in our lives. It can be, we can see the second is parents and children relations, siblings. So you can see, of course, as I shared earlier, for everybody will be a difference. So of course, if what I share now, about what I share, the first point of how the mechanism of karma works. If there is some question, don't hesitate to write on the chat. And at the same time also about the tables that I have shared now, about with whom we have more karma. Also, if you have any questions, you can share also the questions. We will just go back to the topic now. See, when it comes to destiny or karma also, all the major events in our life are actually destiny. For example, we say birth and death, we understand, because here we don't decide, we don't have any control. But just also like marriage, major illnesses, or major accidents also are destiny. And just about how we can say this knowledge may help us. So sometimes, see, out of ignorance about this factor of destiny, it leads the person, we can say, more or less in despair or crying over the situation the person is facing, and feel like, why I have done, or why I'm deserving this. I don't know if some of you may have experience before knowing this concept or this knowledge about destiny and karma, and then whether it have changed the outlook for you. But for some of you who are new to it, whether that type of thought is there, what I have done, why somebody is bothering me, why that person hurt me. And if we don't have karma in considerations, we may feel sometimes that it is not fair, God is not fair. And sometimes we may feel God doesn't exist. We lose faith in God. Or we become angry to God, why God is doing this to me. But it's actually many times is people, or we are not educated about the principle of destiny. That actually we are undergoing some things that we have done in previous birth. And even though sometimes we may know that concept, or we may know that in mind, that yes, it is because of destiny, but still by mind we are actually struggling and finding difficult to accept the situation we are facing. One is a good thing is when we also understand this aspect of destiny, we are more careful how we behave, of not creating a new negative destiny with others. And especially understanding this concept of destiny bring actually sometimes some relief. I don't know if some of you also may have experience. You can also share in the chat that you went through some difficulty in life, and when you came to know, at that time it brought some relief or some peace because you felt what happened to me, maybe it was destiny. And it gives especially a philosophical outlook of life. We start changing the way how we look at things. I just wanted to also share that actually man is born repeatedly for two reasons. We are born again and again. One is to go through this happiness and unhappiness according to the destiny we have. And the second is to actually make spiritual progress, is to grow spiritually and to experience, we can say, bliss or spiritual emotion. And remember, I shared in beginning, in today's time, 65% of our life is over or is ruled in a way by destiny, and 35% is free will. But just to understand that even with 1% free will, if it is used in a proper way towards spiritual practice, it can even overcome 99% of destiny. And we have example of seekers, and I think on the website also we have different testimony of seekers who had severe destiny or difficult life, and when they started spiritual practice, they experienced some relief, or they were able to overcome fully the destiny. And just like as a solution, we know, or some of you may already know about this aspect of destiny and karma, but what we do about it, knowing it's just not enough, because as we share, it just brings some relief or some acceptance, but sometimes we are not able to move on. So in a way, or we don't know also what is going to happen next tomorrow, what destiny we already faced, that we are aware, but what destiny is waiting for us, that also we don't know. And since destiny is spiritual in nature, only spiritual practice is one way to overcome destiny. And one simple tool or simple step in spiritual practice is repeating God's name. It is a very simple tool but powerful to erase, we can say, the negative destiny. We just wanted to explain in short how it works. We have shared with you now how the mechanism of the law of karma happen within our subconscious mind to our conscious mind. So here what happens when we repeat God's name, we create a positive impression in our subconscious mind. And there is a principle that name, form, and energy coexist. So when we repeat a divine chant or a divine name, we attract that divine positivity within us. And this divine energy will go into our subconscious mind, and it will start purifying the impressions in our subconscious mind. And that is why we have many seekers who started spiritual practice and chanting God's name, started experiencing immediately or after some time reductions in the suffering they had. So what we can do now is we will play one of the divine chant, and we can do that exercise, because ultimately there is no secret in spirituality. If we want to change ourselves, if we want to overcome the problem we have to do something. So here is something, a simple tool that you can implement. You can chant anytime, anywhere. And you can try to do it also in sit down position. You can do it also into some random activity. So what we will do, we will just now play the divine chant. I will ask you to close your eyes, and we will play the divine chant for 3 to 4 minutes, and then after we'll continue with the session.
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। 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 ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
Okay, dear seekers, we can end now. So just you can see also how you feel from inside. Why we wanted to show you that how it is to repeat God's name. So for you can repeat as per your religion of birth, or if you are not attached, you can repeat also this universal chant of Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. It is a simple practice. Of course, in spiritual practice there are more steps, other steps, but this is a simple practice to start with and easier, and it really helps to, in a way, one, it helps to stabilize the mind because the thoughts in the mind become less. So when our mind is stable and calm, we are able to face situation in a better way. And at the same time, as I share, it also purify our subconscious mind. So it starts erasing the different impressions of destiny that we have. But just remember, this is just the first steps. So now what we can do, we can go through your questions, different questions that you have about what I share, the different concept of the mechanism of karma, or if you have also personal questions, you can also share in the chat. So now we go to the questions. There is a question from Karanjani Bala. Even if we do good, we receive only trouble. Why it is so? And if destiny rule, why should we do good? So actually this is a good question, Karanjani. This is what I share. See, we may be doing something good, but something bad comes in returns. So sometimes we say, and we feel, why this happened to me? But just to understand that everything's happened because of destiny. Experiencing happiness or unhappiness. So in this life we are born, as I shared, to go through this destiny and make spiritual progress. So ultimately, if we do spiritual practice, then whatever destiny we have faced or what destiny is coming, we don't know. It helps us to remain stable and start erasing the negative destinies that we may have. Because in today's time, even the destinies is 65% of destiny, it is more, we can say, unfavorable. And in today's time also, many people are experiencing difficulties, problems. Just to remember, we are in this darker era called Kali Yuga, where in today's time, the spiritual level of person is lower and this negative destiny is much higher. So even if you do good, continue to do good. But more important, if you try to do spiritual practice, then you will get help from God. There is another question from Sumit Singh. Does the Guru have the power to change our destiny? And why spiritual Guru come in one lives? So, Sumit, yes, about Guru can have the power to change our destiny, but he will do so only if the seeker is deserving. Because if the person is not doing any type of spiritual practice or doing individual spiritual practice, until and unless the person gets what we call Guru's grace, so it will not be able to change the destiny. But if the person wants to realize God or spread spirituality, at that time the Guru may erase the destiny of the person. But again, it will depend. In some cases, some person have severe destiny, some people have medium destiny. So sometimes it will depend also. Sometimes Guru may not, or even God may not change the destiny of the person. It depends. But if we do spiritual practice and get Guru's grace, then we not only able to overcome destiny, but we are able to grow spiritually and experience stable state of mind, bliss, and spiritual emotion. And ultimately, see, if we do spiritual practice without expectation that I should get a Guru to overcome my destiny, that expectation is there. So either we may not get anything, but if we do spiritual practice with desire to change ourselves, to grow spiritually, and at that time this is much more important because we do spiritual practice without expectations. There's another question from Bhavani Rajantam. Why are we having the COVID virus that is started last year and still upsetting all our lives? So just you have more questions, but I will just, you say, is this one of those signs as mentioned for those days and how the world will be destroyed through typhoon, volcano, earthquake and flood? I want to know as I search, and the temple priest said it is due to the negative thinking of people with mental illnesses. So we had actually a live stream of why the coronavirus is spreading and why we are in front of difficult time. It is part of the cyclic, as per the time, it's actually as per time factors. We are in today's time in Kali Yuga, and we are moving towards a new cycle. It's like a mini era of Satya Yuga, and we are in this transition period called Sandikal. And at that time there is, we can say, different problem ahead. And one, COVID is just one factor that is happening. But ultimately, these problems that we are facing, and we should utilize this time to do spiritual practice instead of focusing on the problem we see around, because we can't fix anything. But ultimately, we should utilize these times to fix ourselves, to change ourselves, to grow spiritually. And then it will help us to remain stable. And if we are deserving, or if we grow enough, or we are seeking God, God will protect seekers all over the world, irrespective of their path or religions. There is another question from Nicola Antonic. It is said that even saints have to go through destiny as it is inevitable. Why is spiritual practice not utilized to nullify it? Why can't we control whether it is used to nullify it for our growth? So actually, Nicola, some saints have some destiny, but ultimately the destiny is more at physical level. Some part of physical illness they may have. It is some saint, is not all the saints, but some saint had sometimes some different uh, disease or different sickness. But at mind level, they are always in bliss or in a state of spiritual emotion. So even the body they may have to go through that destiny, and ultimately they don't want to use God's energy, because in a way they go as per God's wish. So they don't want to use that energy to nullify this, in a way, destiny out of body. So their intention is mainly on how to help society. So instead of using that energy to overcome that body destiny, they utilize their energy to help others to grow spiritually. So in a way, they are not thinking about their own growth, they are thinking about the growth of others. But ultimately, in result, when saints don't like that, they continue to grow and merge back with God. There is another question from Computer Care. What can we do to find our true guru? So to find a true guru, that is a good question. Maybe I don't know what is your real name. But to find a true guru, see, ultimately it is difficult not to understand who is a real guru or not. In today's time, there are so many fake gurus. And we don't have also sometimes that sixth sense ability to understand who is a real guru or not. So one simple thing to do is by focusing on the principle of spirituality, of practicing spirituality, to go as from many to one. So like that, there are different principles. Ultimately, by practicing spirituality, we make spiritual progress. And it is meant to happen that when we grow spiritually, then Guru come in our lives. And the true Guru will come. It's a matter of first we should practice spirituality. And if it is answering your question, Computer Care, you can share also. There is another question from Kishore Shinde. If someone is inclined to spirituality, is that due to his destiny? It can be of two types, Kishore. It can be somebody who have maybe done previous birth spiritual practice, maybe having that drawn or inclined to practice spirituality. So that can be due to destiny also. But remember, we have that willful actions. Instead of indulging ourselves in some worldly pleasure, at that time we may want to choose to overcome and to grow spiritually. So this is both. There is destiny and there is as well willful action. Because what happen, they may say, okay, let me enjoy life, and if it is my destiny to do spiritual practice, it will happen. It will just happen. No, that is an incorrect thought. The moment we are aware of our thoughts, we should utilize that time to do spiritual practice. In spirituality, money has no meaning. Time is the most valuable thing. So we should use that time to use our free will to grow spiritually. There is from Alien TV, I don't know if you have also another name to share. Why is it that sometimes intuitions oppose the law of karma? An example, if I decide to take a taxi and my intuition immediately warns me strongly not to go, but if I instead go, I become a victim. See, here we can't say, because something we can't be sure now. Sometimes in regards to intuitions, there are two aspects. Either God protects us from an incident, so God gives us some thoughts not to go somewhere, or sometimes we can't say. It can be our intellect, or it can be negative energy also misguiding us. So we can't always be sure that our intuitions is proper or correct. Whether our intuition is from God, from our mind, or from negative energy. So the best way is again the same thing. More important is to how can we understand also what is going to happen to us tomorrow. We don't have that sixth sense ability or that spiritual level to understand. So best is to try to focus in spiritual practice only. And then whatever happen. Sometimes people have sixth sense, they perceive something. But again, what I want to share is not to rely on that sixth sense only, because sometimes we can be misguided. There is another question from Linnea. If death is destiny, why does it happen to a person that get murdered? It's actually, this is also destiny, no? If somebody died, whether he died from an accident, whether the person died from a natural death of old age, we can say, or the person died from a sickness, or the person get murdered, it's destiny only. It is the same thing. And if that death is destiny, then the murderer is destined to kill. Yes, it's actually like that only, because we don't know what has happened in previous birth, whether it was the other way around. So whether the person who killed was actually destiny, the murderer it can be free will also, we don't know. The person who died will be 100% destiny. But whether it is actually the person who kills the person, whether it is destiny or free will. It is more clear to you now, Linnea? So the person who died, definitely it is destiny. But the person who do the wrong act, it can be either both. It can be either destiny or free will. There is another question from Carlos. If I have to marry person A, with whom I have negative destiny, but I start doing an intense spiritual practice and change my destiny to a positive one, do I have to marry the same negative person? Or now I will marry a spiritual positive person to have a positive destiny? See, Carlos again, no? Same thing. Person we marry is 100% destiny. So whether we have to marry that person, whether we have a give and take account with the person. If let's say there are two ways. Either the person has to face it, means they have to go through that. The person does spiritual practice. But what can happen? The person still has to face it, because by facing it, the person can overcome the destiny faster. Or the person will get the thought not to get married, but here the person will have to do spiritual practice to nullify that destiny. So sometimes spiritual practice goes in nullifying the negative destiny that we may have with a person. So we don't know also what will be. Ultimately, marriage is 100% destiny. So whatever happens, whether it is destined to marry somebody who have negative destiny, or somebody who is a seeker, who is having positive destiny. That also we don't know. Best if we do spiritual practice only, automatically it happens, whether we'll get married or not. What I'm trying to say is that destiny will be negatively erased, and whether it is to be married with somebody else, it will happen as per destiny only. There is another question from Bhavani. I'm facing too many trouble, pain, dejections. Why doesn't our life change even after going to temple, offering puja, breaking coconut, and writing affirmations? So Bhavani, see, there are in spiritual practice, no, going to temple, offering puja, sometimes it is at the level of worship. And here, until and unless there is spiritual emotion or spiritual level is high enough, then God will accept the offering. So sometimes just going to temple Offering puja may not just be enough to overcome severe destiny. So in cases there are different type of destiny, mild, medium, severe. So for somebody who have mild or small destiny, offering puja or let's say doing little bit of spiritual practice, it will be overcome. But somebody who have more severe destiny, at that time more intense spiritual practice should be done. Whatever other type of practice may not be sufficient. Writing affirmation is a good point. Affirmation is a sentence that helps to contain situations. I will remain calm, I'm calm. But in SSRF we explain about autosuggestions. Helps is how to overcome a deeper impression in our subconscious mind, and it helps to go to the root. So Bhavani, you can share your if you want, you can join one of our satsangs, a group online, when we explain to work on ourselves and giving this autosuggestion technique. Because affirmation is just containing a situation, but it's not overcoming the root of the problem. And you say also things are getting worse too. I hope deluded me after waiting for the destiny to change my life. I have done meditation and reciting mantra since I was 15 years old. No change. I read other experience positive experience after reciting mantra. See, Bhavani also one other thing that can happen. No? You are practicing some spirituality, but important is my spiritual practice as per the principle of spirituality? To do as per time. There is one principle is to do spiritual practice as per time. To go from many to one. To go from gross to subtle. So if our spiritual practice is not proper, it is as good as no spiritual practice. And one thing also that may sometimes influence our destiny is being affected by negative energy or ancestor problem. So sometimes that is part of destiny. So sometimes you may do puja, meditations or repeating mantras. But if the problem may be caused due to negative energy or ancestor problem, it will not cure the problem. So that's why we can try, we are suggesting in SSRF to repeat one chant, that is Shri Gurudev Datta. We will paste also in the chat for you to see this chant, because it helps or alleviate most of the problem caused by departed ancestor. And this chant also of Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya helps to protect from negative energy. So Bhavani, what you can see, if despite problem we have, or for others who are listening, if same problem you have, different problem, that doesn't go. Either our spiritual practice is not proper, or sometimes it is influenced by negative energy or departed ancestors. So that's why sometimes the problem keep recurring, a persistence. So that it is needed to address spiritual healing remedy. It is a part of spiritual practice also. I just want to highlight here a point. If somebody is affected by negative energy, for them overcoming negative energy is part of spiritual practice. Because once negative energy goes away, the person is able to make progress. Because what we have seen also is SSRF, some people are practicing spirituality for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, lifetime. And they are not able to make progress and they are suffering. Why? Because they have not addressed the problem caused by negative energy. So just remember, overcoming negative energy, it is spiritual practice also. It is part of destiny. But we can overcome it, and we have many seekers who are able to overcome problem caused by ancestor problem or negativity. There is another question from Lisa Campbell. You are asking to give the breakdown of the meaning of each part of the universal chant. So Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So Om is Om. This is the name of the creation. Namo Bhagavate is I bow to the divine principle Vasudevaya, this is of sustenance. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, who is present everywhere. That is actually the meaning, that is, I bow to the divine principle of sustenance that is present everywhere. There is another question from Vipin Koshik. Why do we get distracted even if we have already progressed in our spiritual journey? So Vipin says there are until and unless we reach of a much higher level, our mind at that time is devoid of thoughts. Our defect within us, such as anger, worry, fear, insecurity, is not interfering or distracting us. So even though we may practice spirituality for some time, but remember that the aim is how to reach to the state where we are able to experience, to remain in a spiritual emotion or in a bliss state. So we have always to continue working on ourselves. Otherwise what happens? We do spiritual practice, we experience some happiness, some level of bliss, and we feel self-content. Then we stop our effort. But in spirituality, we have to keep doing spiritual practice all the time. We have to go to next stage and next stage, overcome the different defect within us. Because ultimately, if we are disturbed by a situation or distracted, as you say, it comes from different defect within us, whether it is ego, whether it is worry, fear, and especially with the current situation. So Vipin, you can see, ultimately whatever spiritual practice you do, it may help you, but you can try if you want to incorporate this aspect of PDR, overcoming defect of personality, because it is complementary to different practice. It helps to overcome the different impression in our subconscious mind. When our subconscious mind is clean, then it is easier to do any type of spiritual practice. There is another question from Camillo Narvaez. How is the process when we do chanting of different deity? When we have a background with one specific deity, I think could be disrespectful with that deity. So Camillo, she just to understand, see, God is one only. There's only one God. And different deity is associated to different principles. So just to give you some examples, there are three principles in the universe. It is creation, sustenance, and dissolution. And every name of God, it's a combination of those three principles. So when you chant a different name, the other deity or the other God is not angry with the other God, no. It is in our mind only, or it is a misconcept. So repeating a different name, we imbibe that different principle within us. So there are some chant, let's say, it is more 70% sustenance, 20% dissolution, 10% creations. In some other chant will be other way around. It will be 30% creations, 50% of sustenance, 20% dissolution. So like that, actually we are deficient now in principle. Otherwise we will be one with God only. So repeating different name, we are acquire those different principle. It's like vitamin B is getting angry with vitamin C. It's like that only. Feeling deity is angry to that deity. It is the same way. So not at all. When you repeat a different name, God is happy only. Why? Because you are imbibing the different principle within you. Ultimately in spirituality, we have to go beyond religion. Because God is one, God is just everywhere present. It's just one principle only. Sat, Sit and Ananda. Absolute truth, absolute consciousness. God is everywhere. And Ananda means absolute bliss. God is 100% bliss. There is another question from Victorine Bland. So if a person is spiritually attacked, how does that relate to our karma? So just as I shared before, Victorine, being affected by negative energy or ancestor problem is also part of destiny. So like that, do spiritual practice or spiritual healing remedy will help to overcome the problem. There is another question from Midrula Desai. Should we do something to change our destiny or just leave it to God? So what do you feel, Midrula, after what I shared? Do you feel we should just let God do something? See, God remain in observer stance. If we don't do anything, see, we are born again, not because of our own destiny, because of our own deeds, our wrong, good or bad actions. All what is happening in the world now, God remains in observer stance. So God will let us go through our destiny only. God will not change anything. But if we decide to make efforts to change our, why? Because we want to grow spiritually. Then God will help us. If we want to change ourselves to make more money, God will not help us. But if we decide to change ourselves to grow spiritually, then only God will help us. This is one of the biggest misconceptions in today's time in people who are looking towards spirituality. I don't do anything, God will do. No, in spirituality we have to make efforts only. Otherwise, our lifetime will be wasted. There's another question from Lisa Campbell. Please comment on the practice of building an ancestral altar to appease and honor our departed ancestor. Can this help? See, Lisa Campbell, what is more important, no? Making an altar, it's more, we can say, something in growth. And I share also one of the principles of spirituality is to grow from gross to subtle. Our ancestors are subtle, God is subtle, and subtle is more powerful than gross. And the best altar or the best things you can do is repeating Shri Gurudev Datta in mind. It has so much potency. Also, for me, it was one of my main experience. I didn't know anything about ancestor problems, Shri Gurudev Datta. And when I repeated in mind, just within 3 days, I stopped smoking. And we have case of seekers like that who overcome different problems just by repeating that chant. So putting an altar is gross is okay, but it has limitations. More important is repeating in mind. Why? Because the name is associated with divine energy. There is another question from Megana. Are our personality defects due to destiny? Can we change them with our willpower? So Megana, our personality defect is not due to destiny. It is our constitution, we can say. It's part of our being. It is something due to how we behave. We actually creating our own, we can say, defect or qualities. And due to that, due to those defects, we act in a wrong way. So we create destiny. But actually, defect is our own only. You may say, destiny is our own also. But for that is working on our overcoming our defect, because defect most of the time lead us to incorrect behavior and incorrect actions. And due to that, we create negative destiny. There is another question from Nilesh Narvekar. Are the events in life like losing one job or having to undergo huge financial loss due to destiny? Most of the time, yes, Nilesh, as we share that most of the bigger event in our life, like losing job or financial losses, can be mainly due to destiny. Sometimes losing job can be also due to our free will also, if we behave in a wrong way. That also can happen. But sometimes huge financial loss can be more due to destiny. There is another question from Carlos B. If a strong negative energy possesses me and hurt others, even that is destiny? That is actually a good question, Carlos. So again, it will depend on the level of the manifestations of the person. It will have to some extent, yes, if the person is, we can say, 100% possessed by negative energy and the person has no control, the person will still incur sin to some extent. Why? Because the person is not doing spiritual practice to control that negativity. The person is not doing anything to overcome. So it will still have some negative karma. After that, if the person, we can say, if 70% manifestations, then at that time the destiny will be more. But even though the person may be possessed by negative energy and hurt others, the person will still incur sin. Why? Because they are not actually overcoming, doing something to overcome the negativity. You say that it seems almost, this is same from Carlos, it seems also every event or action in our life is destiny. Not all, we share that some of them are also our free will. So this, we still have free will, but sometimes we are not in position to understand whether what I'm doing is destiny or it is my free will. So that's why sometimes we can't understand. If we try to understand by intellect, we will not make it. It's not possible only. That's why here the solution is to do spiritual practice. Because again, in today's time are unfavorable. Negativity is everywhere, no? And we have more negative destinies than positive destiny. And we have no idea what is in our next destiny, what is going to unfold to us in 1 hour, in 1 day, 1 week, 1 month. We don't know. So it is better to do spiritual practice because we are going to be more secure, no, in the time to come. There is another question from Lisa Campbell. How are image of God decided upon? Are those image accurate? See, God, we can say, are in subtle, and they also are depicted in gross. And in today's time, to be able to depict, to draw or make an image, we may be able to do by 30%. This is only what we are kept, because we are in a period of Kali Yuga, where we will be able to bring God into a form only by 30%, because God is formless. There is another question from Sneha Joshi. When everything goes as per own wish, how can we show gratitude to God? So Sneha, see, when you say things goes as per our own wishes, ultimately we have to go, there is 3 stages in spirituality. One is to do as per our own wishes, me, myself and I, what I want, what I like, or to go as per others' wish. Let's say now we should go to the next stage, to go as per others' wish. So we grow from my wish to others' wish, what others want, what others like. Then our ego become less. And then we go as per God's wishes. And then when we go from my wish to others' wish, we develop some feeling of gratitude. But when we go from others' wish to God's wish, we want to say gratitude only, because everything as per God's wish only, ultimately. See, God is a doer of all actions, but we are not able to experience Him. Because of our ego and our mind, we feel I'm doing it. But God is a doer of all action, and when we grow spiritually, we start experiencing it, that God does everything, and then we are just expressing gratitude for that and experience bliss, experiencing how God does everything. In own wishes, there is no happiness, it's just sorrow only. In others' wish, there is happiness by helping us, by doing what others want, by helping others. And in God's wish, there is bliss only. So we can decide whether we want to experience sorrow, happiness, or bliss. Okay, dear seeker, I think it is very nice. We went through many of your questions today, so I hope it helps ultimately see whatever destiny we had unfavorable. As one thing is, God doesn't look what we have done, but God look at us in present tense. Whatever things wrong we have done, either it can happen sometimes because of destiny or negativity affecting us, or the period we are living or we grow up. But remember, God look at us in present tense. And how much we do and how much we try, then God will help us. And how much hard our destiny may be or must be, remember 1% of free will doing spiritual practice can override 99% of destiny. And by God's grace, Guru's grace, everything is possible. So there is no secret. If you just sit in sofa, you will not progress. But if you try to do something and you practice spirituality, it is bound to happen to make progress. So dear seeker, gratitude that you have joined us for our live stream. I would like to share our next event. Our next event is slightly related. It is next week. That is next Wednesday. It will be about past lives, past life and reincarnations. I think some of you may be interested by this topic. And if you like, if you know some people who are interested, you can share also to your friends and relatives or to your social media about the next topic we will have. That is next Wednesday. And then tomorrow is Thursday. So Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, we will have also the collective chanting meditation sessions. And on Sunday also we have a workshop that is of 3 hours duration. And this workshop is through Zoom, and it is through donation. You can give whatever you like or can. Everything is welcome. And this topic, the first 2 hours will be about how to go from insecurity to confidence. And we're going to share some theory and especially some tips and practical exercise of how we can overcome insecurity and develop confidence or self-confidence. And the other part of this workshop, it is the last part of 1 hour, will be research of soil and waters. So we are using also, we show you the research where we use UTS scanner. It is a biofeedback device that measures the positive and negative aura. And the research is quite interesting to see about different samples from all over the world. So dear seeker, hope you have learned something. Hope you try something. Always you can contact us and share your experience, your obstacle, or if you have questions also on our live chat. And namaskar to all seekers.